we are, so when you think that, what is my doubling rate? I think, what do I double in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? I think that can make a very big difference. So therefore, I think set the big aspirations. And I have a feeling that I do recall that Prahlad's statement saying that you must be unconstrained by your current resources. Obviously, if you are going to evaluate all your resources and say that, okay, this is what is my limit and this is the growth, I'll do slightly better, you're not going to be. So I think many of us, including individuals, companies, entrepreneurs, we have to recognize that what we are going to do is something which is going to be unconstrained by our current limitations. So we have to be unbounded in that sense. So therefore, this is something which we're constantly drilling into it. So I have, a company which is 80 years old, which is Grindwell Norton, which I'm just, because it's in the public space, I'm also the managing director of that company, in addition to my chairing the group in this part of the world. But that company is 80 years old, and we've improved our market cap 3x in the last thing, faster than this. And I think there is no, and it's a very, very basic business, nothing special, abrasive ceramics and polymers and other things. So there isn't any business that we can think of which we can really shift the gears. And I think that is something which individually as well as collectively we have to look at. So that's the first aspiration, and I think we have a very clear thing. If we don't do 3x by 2030, I think it'll be embarrassing, because this. And here, I think we also miss, just to give you that, we make ceilings in India, and we have a 56% market share position. We are fantastic. We have grown at something like 16%, which means doubling every 4.5 years. In volume terms and value terms, slightly faster. But I just want to tell you that in China is 25x bigger than us. Okay, 25x, forget it. I mean, we are very proud that we are 12 crore square meters in India. We are growing. It came from 2 crores some time back. We've grown by 6 times. We feel that we have shaped the whole glam thing, blah, 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 all of that. So my Chinese market is 300 crore. Okay, that's, so what, so I'll tell you, while we keep thinking about, okay, this is massive difference, right? 25x. If you take any business, you will find cars is 20 million cars. We are about 3 million. We take ACE and other things into passenger vehicles, so we call it slightly more than 3.5 million. So it's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong in being slightly, trying to pad up a little bit. We always do all of that. But I think what is important in that is the thing called wealth effect. I think many of you have heard this term. There is a non-linearity in growth. When India doubles, our products and categories are not going to double. It's going to quadruple or something like that. I don't think intuitively as entrepreneurs or as business people, we understand this non-linearity of growth. So it's very simple that today we just did a survey in 7 cities. We are basically in construction and building materials. So we should be tanking now because of the situation in building industry. Many of you know it. But we just did a survey. 46% in the top 7 cities, 46% of the people are looking for 3-bedroom apartment. We are not talking about all of us here. We're talking about 46% of the people are looking for 3-bedroom apartment, which had moved from 2 bedrooms to 3 bedrooms. Everyone is looking at, and the average ticket size is 90 lakhs for an apartment. If you had asked me 5-6 years ago, what would you have said is the average ticket size? We'll say affordable thing, 25 lakhs to 40 lakhs and things like that. So what happens is we actually don't sense this non-linearity. That's the same thing with COVID, right? The moment it is R0 is more than 1.0, you just suddenly find that the infection at the end of 15 days or 30 days is massive. That's what we saw in April, May, June, when the second wave, because R0 was high and it was going up, and we just saw day after day, things going up to nearly 400,000, 4 lakh a day. So I think this non-linearity is something which you have to believe in. And I think, I have a feeling in many of our categories, you'll see a 4x when India doubles, whatever time it takes. Let's just, India becomes double or what it is. I think a reasonable time at constant prices to double in 8 years would be great. Okay? But when that double takes place, many of our categories will be 4x to 10x, depending upon what you are, because there is a very classical wealth effect. When the whole curve, the median shifts from $2,500 to $5,000, the number of people, consumers who are coming in is not double. It's 5x or 10x. That's the bell curve. There is nothing. And what you're seeing in China, when China in any kind of product, any kind of service, any kind of a thing, when you see 10x, 20x, 30x, it's because of that particular phenomena. And I think we are at the lucky phase where all of us as entrepreneurs or business people in India are likely to be non-linear. And I think if you don't set as entrepreneurs 4x to 8x in the next decade, then you're really setting your aspirations low. And here again, why I'm saying is that last 1.5 years, COVID has messed with us, correct? Messed with us. But look at us. Don't you think that every one of us in this room is better off? Let's be honest. Right? We are all better off, right? Either we have a stock market which is going why we don't know, okay? Or we cut costs in our companies, digital has helped. So I have a feeling that this is something which you have to believe, and I think if we can communicate that our teams, that this aspiration is crucial, and there is a 4, 8, 10x possibility, 10 years, 15 years, that's a question, and not this. And I think in which case the opportunities are humongous. So that's the first the aspiration. I think digital is, everybody is talking about it. I think a lot of us have done some reasonably good work. But I think we need to embed digital very deeply. And I think today we know there is a big gap between what services we deliver to customers, and really there's a mess out there. At least in my industry, there's royal mess. If any of you ask me, please help me with your homes and this, I'm sorry he's here. I'll tell you that I'll try to help you, but don't expect great service, because it's complicated. Between us and you, there are multiple layers. What's happening is, few years ago we thought that we'll do something, but digital has made a huge difference. So therefore, there are 3 parts to digital. One is what you can do in the factories. Actually, it's a pretty easy job to do things in the factories, because it's a bounded variable. You know your factories, you know your operations pretty well, so you can do all of that. I think there is, unlike the IT, the IT required larger investments in infrastructure and many other things, whereas digital is modular, scalable, replicable. So I don't want the view that we have to get our IT and everything perfect before we get the digital pieces right. Of course, the consultants will tell you, you'll have to give this, you have to get this thing, you have to all of these pieces, because they want business from you. But I think digital that way is really somewhat forgiving, and therefore a deep digital effort across the company makes a big difference. And we started talking about, at the time it was called Web 3.0. This Industry 4.0 was something which the German consortium, sometime in 2016, came up with Industry 4.0. The group of German manufacturers, including people like Bosch and others, came up with this. But I think this Industry 4.0 is making a dramatic difference. I don't know how many of you are in manufacturing. Manufacturing, we've been frauding, saying that there's a hell of a lot of skills, there is complexity, there is this, that, all that, quite pretty. But given that all of us are running companies with some 50 to 75% people who are contract laborers, right? It can't be so simple if you're going to pick people from the street and then ask them to do work, and you're able to do that. So I have a feeling we have kind of sexed up this whole skill debate, and really speaking, I've discovered that with the 2-week training, you can get a large number of people to do high quality work. That 80% you can get to a very good level. For that, I think digital is playing a very important role. So for instance, we have found that we don't need more than 4 layers in a manufacturing setup. And recently, when we did this lot of digital transformation in the manufacturing, the union leader came, our union leader in our plasterboard plant in Bengaluru. He came and he spoke in Kannada, and he said that, look, I'm really proud because with this iPad that he has, he's doing what an engineer or his boss was doing, because we have coded in simple if then else rules. No, there is not that much greater thing that we do in factories. Okay, if this then this, otherwise something else, right? I think 80% of what we do is so simple, but the damn thing is we make that very complicated. We have layers of people doing that stuff. So this if then else is coded, and therefore he says, okay, if this particular pressure gauge is this, if the temperature is this, these are all the checks that you have to do, and these things. And this is such a simple thing, and when we coded that into a very simple thing and then connected up all of that, of course a lot of effort is required to do all of that, but he says that I don't need that engineers, now I'm doing everything. And he's proud. He's 45, he's a union leader, Communist Party, but he says that when he talks to his son, he can sense that his son respects him much more than he used to before. I think that is empowering. So what, for me, digital is empowering entry-level people with capacity for decision making, which is non-linear. I heard someone talk about, I think Madhavan was talking about how we empowered the retail sales force to do things. So I think at the core, I see digital as really empowering and delayering. I think this is in manufacturing clearly.